Modals. Read the following sentences. May I go to the cinema? I could get very hot in Montana. You ought to drive carefully in bad weather. Will you please shut the door? I can lend you my car until tomorrow. In the above sentence, may, could, ought to, will and can are modals verbs. Modals. Can, could, may, might, must not, need not, ought to, shall, should, will, would. Definition: modals are special verbs that behave irregularly in the English language. They give additional information about the function of the main verb. Modals never change their form. They are always followed by an infinitive without to. 1. Can, used for permission or possibility. For example, can I use your phone, please? Smoking can cause cancer. 2. Could, used for polite permission or possibility. For example, it could rain tomorrow. Excuse me, could I just say something? 3. May, used for permission or probability. For example, may I use your phone, please? May I sit down now? 4. Might, used for polite permission or probability. For example, might I suggest an idea? I might go on holiday to Australia next year. 5. Must, used for strong obligation. For example, it must be very cold on the East Coast. I must go now. 6. Must not, used for ability or prohibition. For example, you must not smoke in the hospital. You must not run on the road. 7. Need not, used where there is an absence of obligation. For example, I need not but tomatoes. You need not take your umbrella. It isn't raining. 8. Ought to, used where there is a half probability of obligation. For example, I ought to see a doctor. I have a terrible headache. You ought to revise your lesson. 9. Shall, used with the and we in the future tense. For example, he shall bring the food very soon. Shall we dance together? 10. Should, used with the and we in the future tense. For example, we should obey our elders. I had hoped I should see you. 11. Will, used with singular nouns in the future tense. For example, he will complete his work by Monday. I will never leave you alone. 12. Would, used with singular nouns in the future tense. For example, would you like to read his speech? That would be the best way.